So one way to unlock the elbow, if you've come from the HE school of thought, which is extend the arm, push down the circle, and snap up, is to do some football tosses, okay? And the goal is to actually just throw the ball underhand with a football, and in doing so, throw it with a perfect spiral towards your target, okay? We don't want any wobbles or any end over ends. You want a nice spiral to your target. And the only way you'll come to learn to do that is to lead with the elbow and unlock it. This would probably be the best recommendation. I wouldn't recommend that you do it for too long, as you have a tendency to carry that elbow behind our side, which is a big no-no. One of the more important things to understand about the whip is the whip itself is actually a lagging position. It's allowing the elbow to lead the motion with the elbow oriented down, as we mentioned earlier, right, to get to this position where the ball is slightly lagging, all right? But the true whip happens in the ability for our hand to accelerate past our elbow in this method. When I see a lot of younger kids doing that are guilty of clearing out, okay, as I start to see their elbow get beyond their side. When we're learning to pitch, a large focus of ours should be to keep our elbow at our side, okay, so that we can work our hand past it, right? If we allow our elbow to get into the midline of our body, we'll end up with some corkscrew kind of pitches, and we'll also end up missing the whip, right? When we throw, it is very important that we understand that the greatest speed that we're going to impart on the ball is directly beneath our shoulder, okay, and directly beneath the attachment point. Once we move on beyond that point, okay, out to here or out to here, we lose a lot of speed and we lose it quickly. All right, so large focus as we start to train is to have your feet at 45, weight forward, keep your elbow resting at your side so that your hand can accelerate past your elbow, okay? That should be our goal. Hand accelerates past our elbow, all right? And past the elbow. Amazing to me how many kids I run across for the first time that actually don't know how to grip a ball. The grip is pretty simple. I think the easiest starting grip for a lot of kids is what's called a four-seam grip, where you have four seams here actually cutting through the air. And to actually throw that, what we do is we take our three fingers, most notably our peace fingers, okay, and apply those over the top of, you can see the C or the horseshoe, right over the top. What you'll see is that these two fingers here, okay, again my peace fingers, are going to rest slightly over the seam. Right, and it's important that you do that and you don't do something like this where you run the fingers too far over the seams. Because if I run the fingers too far over the seams, when it actually goes to come off my fingers, you can see that my fingers are not in contact with the seam. If I rest my fingers right on top of the seams and I peel that ball off my fingers, I can feel that these two fingers are doing work against the seam. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is sometimes kids are guilty of over-gripping the ball. They're afraid they're going to lose it. Point being, really quick, is don't death grip a ball. Death gripping a ball will lock out the wrist at times, as well as the forearm and the elbow, creating a very muscled, non-whippy release. On the subject of grips, one of the things that I also see quite often is that a kid's thumb, their hands originally aren't large enough to hold the ball with the thumb opposite the middle finger on the stripe. So what they do instead is they have the thumb over here. Now when you have very small hands, that's fine, but what I really encourage you to do, if you really want to see your spin rate start to increase and you want to start to work on your spin, is to actually start to creep that thumb in as far as the grip will comfortably allow. Get your thumb opposite the middle finger on the stripe if you can, and remember to work your thumb in that direction as your child grows. The striped ball is a great way to start to think about spin and consider the axis of your spin. I know a lot of kids that are blessed with 20 plus rotations per second, but the truth of the matter is if that spin that they're throwing isn't on an axis that is in favor of the pitch they're throwing, the spin that they're obtaining is absolutely pointless. So take time at home, make a little design if you want, make it yours. Your kid actually will enjoy it, and make a straight ball. Again, our focus is if when we really want to start working on our spin and really stay in that stripe, carve through the air in a nice bar, either end over end or more of a 7-1, okay, or more of a 12-6 such as this. What we would like to do is make sure that the thumb is on that stripe. One of the reasons why I see that as a problem is the thumb can actually create a bit of a drag here. The further forward I have, the easier it is for me to let my thumb come off the ball during my release. And as such, you'll see a much tighter bar or straight line when you throw a straight ball. What we want to do when we're learning to throw the ball underhand, okay, what we want to do is to make sure that these corners aren't independently acting. All right, we want them all connected. We want them working together. And the best way to do that, rather than try to rotate them and to try to move them, is to try to stabilize them. Don't throw around your body, throw across your body. As you come through to practice your 9 o'clock throw, make sure that you're not getting any excessive movement whatsoever out of your four corners, okay? So no movement out of your four corners, just work on your whip.